Today we're looking at something that feels less like a normal automobile and more like somebody in the 1930s accidentally invented van life about 80 years too early. Because this strange machine right here, the Thompson House Car, is one of the earliest true motorhomes ever created, and honestly, it still looks futuristic in the weirdest possible way. The first time you see it, your brain needs a few seconds to process what exactly you're looking at. The lower half looks like a stylish, streamlined sedan from the mid-1930s, something elegant and aerodynamic from the golden age of Art Deco design. Then you notice the roofline climbing upward like somebody quietly attached a second floor to the car, and suddenly it stops looking like a sedan and starts looking like a tiny apartment trying very hard to pretend it's still an automobile. But the important thing is, this wasn't some joke or circus attraction. The Thompson House Car was a serious engineering project created by a man named Thompson, who built the first version of this machine in 1934, using a Studebaker chassis powered by a 6-cylinder engine. And honestly, Studebaker was a pretty smart choice for something like this. Their chassis were known for being durable and relatively advanced for the time, which mattered because this thing carried far more weight than a normal passenger car. What makes the Thompson House Car so fascinating is that it wasn't simply a car towing a camper trailer. That already existed back then. No, this was something much more ambitious. A fully integrated house car, where the living space became part of the vehicle itself. In modern terms, this was basically a prototype motorhome decades before motorhomes became mainstream. And the engineering behind it was surprisingly clever. One of the most interesting features was the telescopic roof system. The upper section of the camper could actually be raised or lowered depending on whether the vehicle was parked or driving. When lowered, the car remained relatively compact for traveling. But once parked, the roof could be extended upward, allowing passengers to stand fully upright inside. It worked almost like a modern pop-up camper, except this was happening in the 1930s, when many ordinary cars still barely had heaters. And honestly, imagining people in 1934 watching this roof slowly rise must have looked like science fiction. Somewhere in America, there was probably a guy standing next to his horse saying, "Well, I think the future just arrived." Inside, the layout was incredibly practical for such a compact machine. According to original descriptions, the steering wheel could fold forward and the seats could recline backward to create sleeping space for up to 4 people. Think about how advanced that idea really was for the time. Modern camper van companies still advertise folding interiors and convertible sleeping arrangements like they just discovered fire, while Thompson was already experimenting with those ideas before World War II even started. At the rear of the vehicle sat a surprisingly complete little galley area. The Thompson House Car included a small refrigerator, a sink with running water, and a compact stove, turning the vehicle into a fully self-contained traveling home. And this is where the car becomes genuinely important, historically, because it proves that people were already chasing the dream of mobile living nearly a century ago. Long before hashtags, influencers, and expensive converted vans parked beside mountain lakes for Instagram photos, there were already inventors trying to combine transportation and daily life into one compact machine. The styling itself deserves attention too, because despite the awkward concept, the car actually tries very hard to look elegant. The front end carries classic 1930s streamlining influences with flowing fenders, integrated headlights, and a tall vertical grille that gives it a surprisingly upscale appearance. Even the camper section was shaped carefully to blend into the body rather than looking like a random wooden box stuck on top. Compared to many later campers that prioritized function over beauty, the Thompson House Car almost feels artistic. Of course, physics still existed, unfortunately for everyone involved. The tall upper structure and additional weight probably made handling interesting. Let's just say this was likely not a machine designed for aggressive cornering. Crosswinds probably turned every highway trip into a mild psychological experiment. You can almost picture the driver gripping the wheel while the entire upper camper section gently sways side to side like a ship during a storm. The exact performance figures are difficult to confirm today because surviving factory documentation is extremely limited. But the 6-cylinder Studebaker engine likely produced somewhere around 80 to 100 horsepower, which for the mid-1930s was fairly respectable. That may not sound like much today, but roads themselves were often terrible back then, and most cars weren't exactly fast either. The goal here wasn't performance. It was freedom. This vehicle was designed to allow people to travel long distances while carrying their home with them, something that was still a revolutionary idea at the time. And people noticed it. The Thompson House Car became famous enough to appear in a 1937 issue of Life magazine and later in a 1938 issue of Motor magazine, where it was described as a car caravan. That alone tells you how unusual this vehicle felt in its era. It wasn't just another modified sedan. It represented an entirely new category of transportation that most people had never seen before. What's especially impressive is how compact the vehicle remained despite all its functionality. Compared to modern motorhomes that often feel like rolling apartment buildings, the Thompson House Car still kept roughly the proportions of a large automobile. It didn't completely sacrifice drivability for living space. In many ways, it feels closer to modern compact camper vans than to the giant RVs that would dominate decades later. And honestly, that's probably why the vehicle still feels charming today instead of just outdated. There's something incredibly human about it. It wasn't designed by a massive corporation trying to maximize profit margins. It feels like it was designed by somebody genuinely excited about the future of travel, somebody trying to solve a problem creatively with the technology available at the time. Today, surviving examples of the Thompson House Car are extremely rare, which only adds to the mystery surrounding the vehicle. One preserved example can now be seen at the California Automobile Museum, formerly known as the Tow Auto Museum. And honestly, seeing it today must feel surreal, because even after nearly 90 years, the design still looks unusual. Not outdated unusual, futuristic unusual. That's what makes this machine so fascinating. It reminds us that the future doesn't always arrive suddenly. Sometimes it starts with one strange experiment built by somebody willing to try an idea before the rest of the world understands it. The Thompson House Car may look quirky today, but hidden inside that weird telescopic roof and tiny kitchen was a concept that would eventually become an entire lifestyle industry decades later. And if you enjoy discovering vehicles like this, forgotten machines that quietly predicted the future long before anyone else saw it coming, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because there are many more incredible automotive stories waiting ahead.